The President Muhammadu Buhari administration is 5 years down the line, and within the period under review, the nation has been faced with myriad of security challenges ranging from armed banditry in the northwest and the central states, and the continued insurgency and several attempts at insurrection, particularly from the El Zakzaki-led Islamic movement of Nigeria and the secessionist move by the indigenous people of Biafra. Again, the administration has so much to contend with from international NGOs and some non-state actors who, through their activities, have prolonged the war on insurgency. How has the administration responded to these challenges, and what are the gains achieved fighting insecurity in the last 5 years? What are the take-homes since the relocation of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, to the Northeast Theater of Operation, where he has been leading troops on the final onslaught against insurgents? Plus, the police brutality and in the US and the global outcry. What lessons are there for Nigerian security services? These and more will be on our focus on Security Dossier today. My name is Lawrence Audu. Welcome to Television Nigerian. You can join the conversation by dialing the number 0812-6846-333. And the program continues after this timeout. Please stay tuned. The issue of racial crime and police brutality has come to the fore in the last 2 weeks, with global outrage and protest following the murder of an unarmed black male, George Floyd, in Minneapolis, state of United States of America, by a white police officer. In Abuja, hundreds of people marched on the streets to the U.S. Embassy to register their grievance and calling for justice, not just for George Floyd, but for all those killed through racial profiling. The report is presented from our studios. Expressed their displeasure over the recent barbaric killings of George Floyd and several other blacks in the U.S. The protesters, under the aegis of the Center for African Liberation and Socio-Economic Rights, CALSA, said the gathering is not only for the display of physical rage as a result of the indiscriminate killings of blacks in the United States by agents of the state, but a display of emotional and mental rage. Convener of the group, Princess Ajibola, said the death of George Floyd is an act of barbarism that is being spearheaded by the white supremacists who see blacks as worthless.
Our skin is not a minus, but it is a double plus. And anybody who cannot do with it can go and hang. That's the truth of the matter. Is not for the display of physical rage, although I am very, very annoyed as a result of the indiscriminate killing of black people in the United States of America by agents of the state. It is instead a display of emotional and mental rage, because we would no longer watch how our brothers and sisters are subjected to all manners of ill treatment by law enforcement officers in the United States of America. The death is not funny. It is not funny. The death of George Floyd is an act of barbarism that is being spearheaded by the white supremacists. Again, I keep saying there's nothing like white. It's either pink or redneck in the United States of America, because black lives, brown colored people, their lives, our lives matter.
The group, amongst others, is demanding the U.S. ambassador in Nigeria to convey its message to President Donald Trump, saying it would no longer watch its brothers and sisters subjected to all manners of ill treatment by law enforcement officers in the United States.
This is over 50 years down the line when the late Martin Luther King Jr. spoke about the emancipation of blacks in the United States of America. We are not unmindful that some of us have come here out of great trials and tribulations. Some of us have come fresh from narrow jail cells. And some of you and some of us have come from where our quest for freedom left us battered by the storms of persecution and staggered by the winds of police brutality. You have been the veterans of creative suffering. These words of Martin Luther King reverberate till date in the United States of America and other Western climes. And the question is, should we suffer untold hardship and persecution just because of the color of our skin? I am asking.
No!
Should we continue to suffer this brutality and barbarism? I am asking.
No!
Right. Should our children, brothers, sisters, fathers and mothers continue to be killed because we are colored blacks?
The group therefore cautioned governments not to act in ways that will destroy the rights and freedoms of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
We are gathered here to register our displeasure with the happenings in the United States of America where black lives do not matter. For us at the Center for African Liberation and Socioeconomic Rights, black lives indeed do matter, and indeed we do matter. And this is the message we want the Ambassador of the United States of America in Nigeria to convey to President Donald Trump. Our message is simple. Black lives matter, and racial discrimination must stop in the interest of peace, unity and progress. If this does not stop, Africans, we must take our destinies into our hands and fight for our rights, because according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, we are all born free. We are all born equal. Nobody is more equal than the other. We all have our thoughts and our ideas, and we should be all treated the same way. The rights in the UDHR belong to everyone, no matter who we are, where we are from, or whatever we believe. We all have the right to life and to live in freedom and safety. No one, and I again repeat, no one should be held as a slave, and no one has the right to treat anyone else as their slave or snuff life out of them.
From the U.S. Embassy in Abuja, Lawrence Audu, TVN News. The administration of President Buhari is 5 years already. What are those visible strides in the area of security before his assumption and now? And with me in the studio to discuss this is a public affairs analyst. I'm talking of Elder Sabo Ode. Welcome to Security Dossier, sir.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a while.
Wow. Yes, it's been a while. Of course, in the past 3 months or more, we came to be punctuated by COVID-19, and everybody has to find a safe place to stay. And that's what's been going on. Thank God that it's possible to ease some of the lockdowns, and interestingly and thankfully, we can find ourselves in the studio once more. Thank you so much.
Welcome to Security Dossier.
Thank you.
The President Muhammadu Buhari administration is 5 years down the line. And in the last 5 years, we have seen some strides on the part of the government. Also, we have also seen a resurgence in banditry activity, criminality, and what have you. But looking from the back, go way back, pre the administration, how would you assess what he has done so far?
Thank you. Let's take our arguments or discussions to, say, 8 years. You will notice that between this 5 to 8 years ago,
yes,
the terrorists were even making attempts in this city, Abuja. We had several bombs going off in the United Nations building, the one in the police building, and of course the one that killed so many Nigerians in Nyanya axis. And I'm sure that you noticed that in the past 5 years, such occurrence has not happened. That will simply tell you that the man at the helm of affairs, Mr. President, being an ex-general, a retired general, must have mustered his intelligence with his capable security leaders to plot out exactly what he wants. And I'm sure that we now see less of those attacks, and we are hearing and seeing from the perspective of the military of how these people are being decimated.
No, but if you have to look at those visible achievements, those visible strides that Nigerians ordinarily, without being told, should be able to see for themselves, how would you recount some of those achievements?
Now, frankly,
in terms of security?
Nigerians are very difficult people to manage. We are part of the society. We fortunately come from a coalition because we do our research, we do our work. We know we go into the front lines to do most of these works. And we know that this government, particularly the military, have done such a tremendous work. Such a tremendous work. I have been on the front line myself. You need to go to the front line to see exactly what it is now against what it was. I was in the front line some times ago, and just recently, before this COVID attack, I went there again. And I can tell you, let me tell you an instance. I was talking to some group of young soldiers around the Buhari axis, and I found one of them very interesting, who he was using the AK-47 arms. And he said to me, Oga, this is nothing compared to what these boys come along with. This can go like 500 meters, but what they come with gets to us at 700 meters. Wow. There's a difference of 200 meters, sure. Which means if the terrorist is somewhere 700 meters away, he gets him easily. But while he's trying his gun, it doesn't make any impact. But now, if you go to the front, you look at the kind of equipment that these boys are using. I tell you, these terrorists are scampering, they are decimated, they are running helter-skelter. The leader of the Boko Haram, the Shekau, we know from findings from our research that is somewhere within the mountains of Cameroon, hiding there. If you want to lead your people, would you be fighting from somewhere in the mountains? Coming to the Nigerian space, and then I'm sure our military boys will answer him. That's what we know. We know that much. The government has done, I can mention about 5 issues. Okay. Good funding, good equipment, synergy, intelligence, and you notice that the Chief of Army Staff was at the front line back 2 months. That's novel, that's new.
No, but how has his presence, I was going to ask that question earlier, but since you mentioned it, it's novel. So how has it changed the tide? Of
course, if you within the workspace here, yes, and you're the head of this organization, and you are supposed to assign your people work, and you say to them, today I'm going to lead you. I'm sure you will notice that there are different results.
Sure.
Different results. And that's what is happening in the Northeast, at the front line. Nobody sees his commander. No military man sees his commander on the front line without giving. I'm sure you noticed, sure, you heard him say that some of them were giving their lives, yes, to take the bullet, for him. That's the way the thing gingers them seriously, and before now I was expecting that most of the security chiefs would have done that. We find it now that most of them are synergizing, gathering intelligence together, and doing what is rightful. And I can bet you that if not for this little boy who is in the mountains, this war should have been over.
In spite of these strides that, yes, the government have made in the area of security, in the last few months, we saw issues with the Islamic movement of Nigeria, and those ones actually, threatened the security and peace of the residents of Abuja. A police officer was killed.
Yeah. Is
it that the government's handling is poor, or what's your general view on the issue with the Elzazaki movement?
I think the government has always used kid gloves. As soon as your intelligence determines that this is a threat, you nip that threat in the bud immediately. Zaki was a threat. We have linked him with Iran. We know where his fundings come from. And of course, as a government would have nipped him right there and there, shut him down. I'm not saying in terms of killing him, but there are several ways of addressing the issue.
Okay. And one of those ways could be?
That's what he's facing, is in the prison yard. Now, because of the way they operate, you have to be careful not to create additional issues.
Yes.
And this is what government is trying to handle carefully. I do know that the government has been very careful in the handling of the Elzazaki issue. Frankly, if I were head of government, I would have long time dealt with that issue by nipping them down there's several ways of doing it, several ways. I don't need to say that on TV, but there are several ways of doing it. And I'm telling you that the man is lucky. We knew there was a group called the Maitasini group.
Yes.
Where are they today?
Grounded.
Completely. We could use the same treatment, the same shock that was handled over to Maitasini. They are scared. Elzazaki is scared if you tell him Maitasini, because he knows how they were handled. They were eliminated, completely exercised. So I don't know what the government opinion or idea is on giving flogging and cuddling. You hit him with the lashes, you cuddle him. I don't think that is necessary for this country right now, because we are getting into more trouble by using those tactics.
Now, talking about insurrection, the indigenous people of Biafra, recently there's an internet sensation.
Yes.
You swear, I've sworn by the Quran, this one has sworn by the Bible, you come and swear by the Jewish scripture, and then there's this controversy between Asari Dokubo, the Niger ex-warlord in Niger Delta. Yeah, you're familiar with that terrain.
I think I am.
And Nnamdi Kanu, who some reports said he has died, some reports say he's still alive, and what have you. But the important thing is, he claimed he gave Asari Dokubo 20 million to pay his boys to blow up
the pipelines. Yes.
At least to destabilize the country as his own way, of actualizing whatever he is trying to do. Now, the IPOB, the government has declared them a terrorist organization.
Yes.
Are they a terror organization?
They are. I remember I was on air the same day he ran away from this country. He left the country about 5 p.m. and the military boys got to his area community about that same time. That same day I was on air, and we discussed extensively about this. Let me tell you this. I believe that the security agencies of this country should do more. IPOB is about money making for a few.
But they seem to have a large following, because if you have been to the southeastern part of the country, the idea, the narrative that has been sold to most of them is that there's going to be an actualization, and every other person in this country is seen as an enemy. And they seem to be buying into
that perception. You could use against your ordinary Igbo man, and you will fall for it. Very simple. The Igbo man is either a businessman, a trader, and not too much of politics. Their sense of belonging is being removed or reduced at every point. And I wish that we could bring them back to the center stage of politics and tell them that this country belongs to them. Nnamdi Kanu understands this very well. He's using that and gaining popularity. And the boys, the young men, of course, not, you say the East, the Igbos, those intelligent ones don't believe in this. Most of them don't, but they know what it is. How he is manipulating the brains of these people, brainwashing them. I do know, I'm not confirmed that.
Yes.
That some of these Igbo boys contribute money to run this organization.
Recently, the presidency said $85,000 is being spent monthly by IPOB, to sponsor campaigns of calumny against the Nigerian state.
That's true. That's true.
So
he gets this funding from the generality of the Igbo young people living abroad. They feel difficult. They see it as difficult as integrating into the Nigerian society. And I don't know why that's happening. But those of them, ask an Igbo man in Abuja town, where does he go to? IPOB does not work for them. No. They believe more in the Nigerian state. That's the truth. But Nnamdi Kanu I don't want to call him a Yahoo boy. Very smart. Very smart. He's using brainwashing, using the brains of these Igbo people. And we need to commission a unit to begin to do something about it.
Yeah, because I find the generality, like you said, of the Igbos.
Yes.
I've served in the southwest and southeast,
yes.
And I've interacted with a lot of them. They're wonderful people,
yes.
Good people,
yes.
hardworking people.
Of course,
all of a sudden, I begin to see this divide, and it's really.
You need to do an arithmetic of which Igbo man is selling in Aba or Mahia or Weri or Nicha or Oka. You also need to do the arithmetic of the Igbo man who does not have an everyday meal opportunity. And of course, those will jump into the wagon.
Sure.
They belong to the IPOB. Ask them if you can identify one of this apartment. Is he paid? No. What does he get to be a member of? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it comes from the fact that they don't have anything to lay back on. I think government should begin to look into this and give them some sense of belonging. Very simple thing to do. For me, talk to them. Simple. The politicians from the East are not doing enough. They're not. In fact, even if they do enough, they can't take on everybody.
Sure.
And I can tell you that the population of the idle ones is growing by the day. And Nnamdi Kanu is ready to trap them.
Well, we have been talking on the 5 years of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, and with me in the studio has been an elder, Sabo Ude, who has been talking about some of those giant strides. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, the program will continue. Stay tuned.
Thank you.
For almost a decade, the Nigerian army have given their all to ensure that our dear country is not overrun by Boko Haram insurgents. Some have in the process paid the ultimate price, while many will forever live with indelible scars occasioned by their determination to protect the country, no matter the hurdle. Despite these, they have remained resolute and undaunted, and today, all territories the insurgents once took control of have been recaptured and normalcy restored. And now, for the first time in a long time, the end of Boko Haram is foreseeable. Therefore, the wisest thing for the remaining insurgents to do is to surrender today or face total destruction from the army. Remember, the Nigerian army will stop at nothing to ensure that total peace is restored in all parts of the country. So, be wise and embrace peace today or get ready to be ruthlessly dealt with. This message is brought to you by the Coalition on Conflict Resolution and Human Rights in Nigeria. For almost a decade, the Nigerian army have given their all to ensure that our dear country is not overrun by Boko Haram insurgents. Some have in the process paid the ultimate price, while many will forever live with indelible scars occasioned by their determination to protect the country, no matter the hurdle. Despite these, they have remained resolute and undaunted, and today, all territories the insurgents once took control of have been recaptured and normalcy restored. And now, for the first time in a long time, the end of Boko Haram is foreseeable. Therefore, the wisest thing for the remaining insurgents to do is to surrender today or face total destruction from the army. Remember, the Nigerian army will stop at nothing to ensure that total peace is restored in all parts of the country. So, be wise and
welcome back to Security Dossier. I have on the line, all the way from Uyo in Akwa Ibom State, a retired Deputy Inspector General of Police, DIG Dr. Udom Ekwu Udom, Officer of the Order of the Niger. DIG, welcome to Security Dossier on Television Nigerian.
Good morning.
Sir, how is Akwa Ibom today?
Akwa Ibom is very fine. Akwa Ibom.
Okay, sir. We are talking on the 5 years of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration in the area of security. As a security expert, sir, and a retired police general, what is your take? How would you assess the administration in the last 5 years?
It's very, very clear. I have to compare the present situation security-wise with the past. One could have imagined if the gentleman, the president of this country, were not to come in as a president, what this country would have looked like. Don't forget, before he came, he was in very serious trouble. Bad boys attacked up to Abuja. The first headquarters was attacked. You know, it was attacked. A lot of places were attacked. They were coming down to the south. But luckily, this man came in as a president. He has terminated them. So I will rate him 98% in security.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
You talk about other aspects of security. Kidnapping was on hourly basis in some places like the south and the southeast. Kidnapping was order of the day. But now you have to hear of this. So I'm going to tell you that the president has done more than any other president when it comes to security of this great country.
DIG, sir, in spite of all these achievements that the president has made, there still is, there are still some obstacles. What do you think are these obstacles, and what do you advise Mr. President to do?
I would advise him to appeal to the National Assembly to offload some of the allowances so that they could add it to security. You look at the money National Assembly members are collecting, to me it's too high. And because of that, the president doesn't have enough money to force security. Security is a very costly venture. The president alone cannot do it. So I will advise him to beg the National Assembly members to please surrender some of the allowances so that they could take more care of security. The police in particular, they need more vehicles. A lot of things are needed, but there's no money. And the president cannot manufacture money. But if these guys can forego some of their luxuries, they are taking about what I've seen. I think the salaries and allowances are more than even they want in advanced countries. If they can surrender some of the allowances, the security can be big or better than what it is today. So I'm advising the president to please beg, maybe use the word beg, the National Assembly, to see the importance of security, allow some of the allowances to be cut and to add it to security. That is my advice.
Okay, sir, before I let you go, is the police of today the same police you have dreamt of, the police you have left over 10 years ago? Is it still in line with with your vision of what the Nigerian police is supposed to be?
They're trying, is trying with some senior officers. They want to say that the other good officers are not trying.
Okay.
The discipline in the police force now is higher than what it was when it was in the police force. And the blame is on the court of the officers. Officers are not doing their job. Some officers reason that the rank and file inspectors run amok. They are disciplined. So I want to advise the Inspector General, please do it very well. Let him descend on any of the officers who don't do his job, so that they can sit up and do their job.
It's been a pleasure talking with you, sir, all the way from Akwa Ibom. We are so delighted to have you on Security Dossier today.
Thank you, my dear.
Thank you very much, sir. That was Deputy Inspector General of Police, Udom, retired, speaking to us all the way from Uyo in Akwa Ibom State. Would you like to react to some of the issues the DIG
Yes, one of it is very interesting aspect of the funding for security that they mentioned, and was suggesting whether Mr. President can appeal to the members of the legislature to download or to offload some of their allowances and salaries, and so that you convert that to part of the welfare and purchases of equipment. I agree totally with that. I think that I am in line with him. If that can be done,
yes.
As we know, if you look at what is happening, even the kidnapping that is going on in some part of the southwest, Ondo, Akure axis, there's a brigade in Akure that's using the latest technology to be able to capture what around the forest, to see whether they can sight or track this kidnapping. And last week, they were able to arrest 25 kidnappers from the forest.
I think we need more of such technology.
Yes. You know, they were, some of the drones they were using were able to lead them and link them directly to some of these kidnappers in the forest. We need such equipment, and you need money to be able to get this equipment. Like the DIG has said, the president cannot manufacture or cannot create money from what is. We know the impact of COVID-19 on the money that comes to Nigeria, our foreign reserve and all that. So there must be an exclusive, intelligent way of getting some kind of funding to be able to run these things, and for us to maintain the tempo, the way that he has managed to reduce criminality in all forms, whether it's be kidnapping. You know what is happening in Zamfara, sure. Katsina.
Now that's another issue. You know, the Northwest governors, that's in the area of Sokoto, Zamfara, Katsina, and some other states in the Northwest. You know how they deal with the criminal bandits recently, and it seems that there's a fallout of that deal already. Yes. Why such a deal in the first place, and what really went wrong?
I think that it's a wrong deal. Why I think it's so is because with the heavy firepower that's been rained on Boko Haram, it is our thought from the coalition that some of them can escape from those areas and come back to do a safer business. In their view, cattle rustling, banditry is a safer business than terrorism.
Yeah, okay.
All right? So, and we know that section of the country has had to live in its ugliness, facing banditry, cattle rustling, kidnapping for a long while without an adequate reply from government. So it's our guess that some of the young people at the front line, yes, some are moving and you can do that very perfectly.
Sure.
They are moving across the Nigerian line
Yes.
to go into that area.
The corridor.
Yeah, the corridor, where they think that they can make faster money and safer money, in their opinion. And you also notice the way Mr. President has responded. Firepower.
Sure.
If you don't come back to sane society, kill them. I'm absolutely together with Mr. President on that. So, I don't know, was there a synergy? Was there a good collaborative thinking between the state governors and the federal government? You couldn't be doing the opposite.
Yeah, because the state governors, much as they are called the chief executive of the state, their powers are actually limited when it comes to the control of security apparatus, because that is within the...
Why do you enter into an agreement, peace deal, where it's not collaborated with the federal government? Why do you enter into a kind of deal where the federal government is not aware? The protection of this borderline, the corridors, are done mostly by... We see what the Air Force is doing. Sure. We see what the military is doing. They are capturing lost grounds where these bandits have taken over. Mm-hmm. They are recovering cattle, 10,000, 12, huge number. And I think that is good. In the first instance, they would have sat down with our military chiefs, with the security people, and come out with a very thoughtful response.
Now, what can the military authorities do differently? Because it looks like Nigerians are, really getting agitated. Everyone wants all this madness to end. What can the military authorities do differently, the government, to, say, in a matter of months, end all forms of insurgency and criminality? If not end it, at least bring it to the barest minimum.
Thank you for that question. This is a very important question. Like you said, Nigerians are becoming agitated, and that's our psyche. We are known to get agitated and again relax. But I do know that with the past 2 months, a lot has been done at the front lines, both whether it's kidnapping, banditry, or terrorism in the Northeast. You never heard of the SBS, Special Branch Section of the Navy.
Yes, Special Boat Service.
Boat Service of the Navy. They are conducting operations at the Lake Chad area. That's a new, brand new thing. Yeah. The Air Force have deployed
Special Forces.
Special Forces. Mm-hmm. They are using special equipments, the ISR aircrafts. Yeah. They are latest innovations. And I can tell you.
And then the delivery of the Tucano aircraft.
It's coming in.
One is already available and deployed.
Yeah,
and then the night vision aircraft. Yeah.
So I think that in as much as we cannot put a timeline, me and you, they are supposed to be able to tell Nigerians that within so time. But on the other hand too is, if they do that and goes wrong, becomes difficult for them to come back to let people know. What the Director of Information, General Nenche, is doing, yes, is also innovative. The military never used to tell Nigerians what they were doing.
Sure.
But today, I'm sure in a week, you get told, you get briefed about how the war is being conducted, how the war is leading on, and so on and so forth.
And then there are casualties even on the part of the soldiers.
They let you know. Yeah, sure. They let you know. The chief of Army Staff just briefed Mr. President of his activities, and you look at the number. It's
massive.
It's massive and interesting, and for me, I'm so happy about it.
Now, fighting insurgency amid COVID-19.
Yes.
There should be some difficulty.
Of course there are. Unfortunately, recently, I don't know, I have not confirmed that as well, but we heard that some military uniform were infected, tested positive, and that's difficult. How do you manage such a large group of people when there's an outbreak of such a pandemic. And I know that they are doing some interesting things to be able to manage these issues.
Recently, in the last 2 weeks, the airwaves globally is besieged by the issue of racial crime, especially after the death of George Floyd in the hands of a white police officer. What's your reaction, General?
I think the whites or the colored boys have taken the blacks for a ride for too long. I'm so angry about that issue. For far too long, we've been messed up, we've been abused, we've been told all sorts of things. And I think it's right now, it's the time for us to respond. Let me tell you, from the coalition,
yes,
we are putting things together. I won't tell you here on TV, to be able to respond to any kind of racism across the globe. And we'll let you know about that at later times.
Some Nigerians thought it was not a fight. It happened in the US, so why are we going head over heels?
Any black man's fight anywhere in the globe is a Nigerian fight. Because I'm sure that if you put your arithmetic together, of every 10 black Americans, I guess that like 4 or 5 of them are from here, from Nigeria, possibly. We are yet to look at that, to research that. But I can comfortably tell you that any fight that comes to a black man on any part of the globe, of the world, should be our fight.
We have been talking on the 5 years of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration and fighting insurgency amid COVID-19, as well as the efforts of Nigerian security services in the war on insurgency, especially in the last 2 months. With Uncle Sabo Ode. Welcome to Security Dossier again.
Thank you for having me. I'm grateful.
Well, this is where we draw the curtain on the program today. Until we come your way again with another exciting episode of Security Dossier, please stay with us on all our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. My name is Lawrence Audu. Bye for now.